Okay. So then there is a little bit, so maybe I. Okay, I'm gonna pull this so I can see the, because this one's blocking.
Okay.
So I will do that. Yeah.
So I can see people are taking a nap while we're doing the interview.
Cheese.
I'm-
If that's okay.
I can't remember what she's not supposed to, but I'm gonna ask her to be disobedient. Zoom. 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 Yeah.
I'm sweating.
You ready? I think there's no one of the staff in here, is there? So it's safe for me to tell. Here comes somebody else. Edna to take off her mask.
Just don't tell them.
I put her 6 months, 6 months, so much for mine. 6 feet away from me. But she's been naming people, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. And I thought, how do you know? Some come home, the last minute just passed. So we are here today to meet Edna, who has been working at the terraces of Los Altos for how long?
More than 8 years, Kate?
More than 8 years.
Yeah.
So that you know, well, before I ask her about where she's from and all that, I want to ask her what her day like, what her day, just translate my language with you. What her day is like at the terraces of Los Altos, so that she will, and I have not been drinking. This is my normal. What her day has been like at the terraces of Los Altos. So you'll know what her day is like here. You're on.
Okay, thank you, Kate. So I want to tell you about a regular day, because there is a crazy day and there is a regular day. A regular day starts in the morning for me. As I leave my car to go to my office, I would meet 1 or 2 residents and I stop. I stop to greet them. I stop to ask them how they are, and I wait for their response. So right there and then, there would be like small conversations as I make my way to the office. And then, of course, I open my email and there would be requests, not a lot, 1 or 2, to see somebody, and there are spiritual support they need. So I respond to those, call them and ask for appointments and stuff like that, just like what I've been doing here for the past 1 month that I've been with you. And then do the programs. There are spiritual programs that I lead there on regular days, like visiting with people in assisted living, visiting with people or residents, I should say, in skilled nursing, and then the memory care. And most of these are requested by families or their friends in the community. And also leading some programs where I partner with residents, musicians, they love it. We bring our music to the 4 areas of living on a weekly rotation. So that's basically, and then, okay, this is my favorite part, Kate, is when during break time, my favorite place to go and spend my lunch is in the break room, where I spend my half an hour with my fellow workers, the housekeepers, janitors, and all those people who work so hard to keep the community safe and clean and just a happy place. So, and then I go back to my office or go back to other parts of the building and then wait for, no, I just don't wait. There's no downtime. I tell you, at the terraces of Los Santos, no downtime. Meetings with the bosses, meetings with other coworkers. So,
What's, are you called a chaplain or a spiritual director, and what's the difference?
well, I've been called as chaplain for ever since. And then when they changed the title to spiritual care director, they still call me chaplain. Because it's hard. Hi, spiritual care director Edna. That's so hard to say. Oh, good morning, chaplain Edna. It's easier, right? And when people ask me, how do you want us to call you? I say to them, whatever you're comfortable calling me. You know, you can call me chaplain and others call me a rev. It's too formal, but it's okay. That makes them happy. So, did I answer your question? What's the
Well, it
difference?
does. I just wondered myself, as spiritual director, you are talking to people of all different religions or no religion, right?
That's correct. And the difference there is the broadening of the role. The role, yeah. Mhm.
So when people ask to see you, what kind of questions do they have? And you said that when you meet them, you speak to them first in the morning. What kind of, and I don't know if this is a good question, but I think I'm trying to say, what kind of questions do people come to you about? What kind of problems is that too?
Well, no, that's fine. That's a
Okay.
very valid question. As a matter of fact, I can give you an example. Before I came to here this afternoon, somebody just knocked on my door and said, wanted to talk to me about something very personal, about a loss, not in her life, but in the life of her son. And so I could tell, I told her, as a mother, I know that when my children are hurting, I'm hurting even more. So we sat down, she sat down, and that's just one, that's typical. It's a typical thing, is they come to me because they expect, maybe I can use the word expect, or they want me to be able to understand them and give them support, spiritual guidance, and maybe my wisdom. So
I know that people probably don't know this, but way back years ago, I studied and became licensed as a spiritual coach.
yeah,
And isn't that about the same thing?
yeah, I'm one of the tasks I do is spiritual coaching. But then you can be a spiritual coach without going to seminary.
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
so. Mhm.
Okay, I guess it's time then and say, if you probably have some questions related to this at the end, we'll have time. Tell us where you're from and something about your family.
Okay, thank you for asking. I am originally from the Philippines. As you can tell, I have a moon face, round face, typical. I was born and bred there. My family was Roman Catholic through and through. My parents were modest business people in the Philippines. 5 children, I'm the 4th. And the 4 of us are here one is in Canada and the 3 of us here 2 in Nevada, and I'm the only one in California. And what else? I went to school there. Should I just continue?
Or just tell us, do you have children?
I do have children, 2 grown sons. and I have a husband and two grand dogs. Never forget the grand dogs. They are, so in my home, there's, my older son has moved out and wanted to be independent, so he is. And the younger son lives with us. So my husband, my younger son, and the two grand dogs. Yeah, and me.
Okay, so then let's tell us about your assumed Catholic education, right?
Yes, I was born, baptized, and was a Roman Catholic until I met this son of a Protestant minister,
That's, you meant,
the son of a United Methodist minister.
okay, well, we'll get to that later.
Okay, later.
And he polluted you and, you know.
He did, yeah. His father was the mastermind.
We'll get to that. So let's start out with first grade and your grade school and a little bit, not into detail, but
Yeah.
just tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started, of course, in the Philippines, took my, I went to college, I went to a university there, a Catholic university, and finished my chemical engineering degree. It's a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. I practiced that course there. I was successful, I would say. I was successful. I was enjoying my job. Am I going like this? You just guide me if I'm like,
Okay,
going wrong
yeah,
with
let's
things.
go back to sixth grade.
Oh,
You had a challenge.
yeah. At the early age of 12, I found out that not all people are good. And not all teachers teach good things to children. I was 12 years old and let me back up a little bit. I was the new kid on the block, because my parents, as business people, they determined it's better to bring their business to another region in the Philippines. So I moved, and I was new in that school.
Was it a Catholic school?
It wasn't a Catholic school, but the Catholic Church had a partnership. So I took catechism in that
Okay.
school. Yeah. The nuns, they were not wearing the thing yet, what do you call those, novice? They were teaching catechism in that school, so I was taking them. But anyway, let's go to the sixth grade, when the first time in my life I even faced the judge to be a witness because something happened in the school. One of the students drowned in the fish pond. It was a man-made fish pond, and I was in charge of the group. There were 6 of us, Girl Scouts. These are Girl Scouts, and they decided to swim. I didn't swim, but two of them drowned. One of them was badly, they couldn't find her, and she was buried in the mud. And when the people who were doing the rescue found her, she was really black and blue, and rushed her to the hospital. She survived. She survived that, she lived. And that's very emotional, because I was, as the leader of the small group of Girl Scouts, I was blamed by the teacher. I was blamed by her. She said that you were told to go home and not go on with your picnic. Why did you have your picnic?
And you were 12 years old.
I was 12 years old, and I told her, I'm sorry, ma'am, but your instructions were for us to go to the school and go on with our picnic. But she said no. I said no, because she had to leave last minute, left us there. Anyway, not to make long story short, the parents of the girl who drowned, of course, sued the school for negligence, right? And the parents talked to my parents and asked if I would be a witness. And I put my hand on the Bible and swore to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. And I did tell the truth. And so the teacher was threatening me, you are not going to graduate as a valedictorian, because I was, a candidate. how do you say that? Academia. Anyway, I was aspiring to graduate with the highest honors.
And this was in
Sixth
Philippines,
grade, yeah.
sixth grade was graduation.
Yeah, there is a sixth grade graduation and then you move to high school. There's no middle school. Yeah, during my time, I think it's different now. But they were all doing their best for me to not graduate as the valedictorian, because the second, the one who's next to me, you know, when it comes to the academic standing, is the daughter of the owner of the biggest shoe store in town. You do the math.
You can figure out the rest.
Yeah, figure out the rest. My parents did not own shoe stores. And so they were doing their best, doing their best. Every little thing that I did was wrong. And the homework teacher would say, I will mark you down for this, and you did this. And God knows I didn't do all of those things, but I was only 12 years old. So I told my mom one night, she came to my bedroom and I told her, I think I'm gonna give up, Mom. I'm just gonna let them do what they want because it's too much for a 12-year-old. My mom said, no, you're not giving up to the last minute. And she said, she was right. I didn't give up.
That was a big lesson in your life.
It
That
was.
prepared you for the future.
It was a big lesson, 12 years old. So I'll never forget that. And I know the names of the teachers. I'm not telling you. I know, it was too much to handle.
But you managed.
I did manage. I guess I was born to be a strong woman or person. So,
Well, tell us about, there was a teacher who inspired you. Wasn't there? What was your reason eventually for coming to the United States?
oh, yeah, let's back up a little bit. So in the 5th grade, we had visitors, missionary teachers from America, male and female, and I know their names, Ronald Iwansky and Susan Morse. I remember their names, never forget. And I was admiring them. They were so neat. He was handsome, she was beautiful, and they were very nice to us as teachers, missionaries. And I told myself, one day I'm gonna go to America and meet more Americans.
But you found out that we're not all like that. Except everybody here.
No, actually, I don't know. And then when my sister, who came to America at a very young age, sent us some chocolate kisses, Hershey's. Oh, I said, I really have to go to America.
I can understand that.
And so I had high respect for Americans. I was reading books written by Americans, literature books. And I don't know, I just said, I will be in America, I will live in America.
Was part of your education over here?
Yeah, do you want to go there now, the seminary?
Well, what?
Yeah, how much time do we have? Well, a 30-minute thing?
We have to finish by 7 o'clock, I think.
Okay. That's enough time. So anyway, I came to America and the very first job I did was the driver of a company, the driver. It's because I was a very obedient sister. My big sister, the one I told you came early, she's been here for like ages. She said to me, as soon as I got to the airport, oh, there's a job waiting for you. She was the friend of not the CEO, but something lower than CEO. And so she said, there's a job waiting for you. Well, I took the job because I was obedient. You know, it's hard when you're a newcomer and you're just living with relatives, you know, in one room. And you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? When you don't have your own money yet, job and everything, you don't have a car and all. And then your sister would say, there's a job waiting for you. You will accept it. You will take the job, right? So I was a driver in a new place. But I was a good driver because I drove in Manila for many years before I came. And
How old were you when you came?
oh, should I tell you?
No,
I was an adult. I was 30 years old when I came.
Where did you learn your excellent English?
Oh, our medium of education in the Philippines is English. So yeah. But when I came here, I had very heavy accent, the Filipino accent. And let me segue a little bit because that's important. I admire Americans, I really do. They're very friendly. And I have one friend who said to me, if you don't mind, I will give you some lessons on pronouncing English words properly. So that the words that, it's funny, but I can't say it because those are bad words. I can't say them when you do not pronounce them properly.
I know some bad words.
They sound this, even if that's not what you mean, you see? And so I listened to her and I learned a lot. Yeah, so.
And so tell us what jobs you've had besides being a driver.
Oh, well, I was a driver for only 6 months when the president of that small semiconductor company learned that I had an engineering degree. He was so embarrassed. Why are you working as a driver? I said, well, my sister said this is a job that's waiting for me. But anyway, after that, I became a sales and marketing administrator for the same company. I went up the ladder of success there. I was dealing with clients all over the world after that. So, and I was happy because I was making a good income there, meeting a lot of people, but then 9/11 came and changed everything. But it wasn't 9/11 for me. For me, it was the eve of 9/11. I was laid off from my job on September 10, 2001. First time in my life. That was the big recession, I think. And I was laid off and I said, that's okay, I'll just apply for another job. But 9/11 came the morning after and that changed everything.
Where were you?
I was in Milpitas,
Okay.
yeah. I didn't break a leg, but pulled my hamstring because I was playing basketball. But anyway. So 9/11 came and it took me 10 months to find another job. Can I just tell them what that job was?
Yeah, but wait a second, you were playing basketball at 30 plus years old?
Of course, why not?
Okay, go on
And pull the hamstring.
to the next job.
So then, after 10 months, I got a phone call from a priest. The rector of an Episcopal church in Fremont, St. James Episcopal Church. He asked me, are you still interested in the job of a church secretary? I didn't even know I applied for it, because I was desperate to look for a job. And I said, oh, yes. So I was a church secretary at the Episcopal Church. Yeah, I learned the vocabulary, right? And it's not different from a Roman Catholic faith. It's basically the same thing, right?
Except you're a traitor.
Why?
Never mind.
Yeah, so a United Methodist working for an Episcopal church, and then the pastor of a nearby United Methodist, because I was very, very active in the United Methodist Church as a lay person, very active. And then they found out I was working for an Episcopal church. They said, we better get you out of there before they convert you.
It seems like that helped to prepare you for what you're doing because you have a knowledge of all, those religions.
I agree, Kate, because in that particular church, the job, that is when I met with the people on the streets, because I started the food pantry, a small thing, a very small food pantry, and people were coming to ask for food. And my eyes were open to the truth that there are, despite the rich people, members of the church, there are very poor people who need help. And I think you're right, that opened my heart, my mind to the next step in my life journey.
Now, where does your husband come in here?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you said something.
He's the son, his father was United Methodist pastor. Well,
Where did you meet him and how did you meet him?
oh, I met him back in high school. He's 5 years older, so it was their college break. He came to our high school and he saw me there. I was the captain majorette of the drum and bugle corps. He saw me, he probably thought I was pretty because I was the captain majorette. So he asked around, who is that girl? And yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, that was it.
that was it.
No, and he waited for me to finish my high school. And in college, yeah, he asked me if I loved him. I said, a little. And then he said, I'll take that. I said, yes. And it was just it, just a little, I said, because I was shy. Yeah. And we've been together since 1973, so that's 48 years together. Yeah, if you count when I became his girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, we still remember that particular day. Because he brought me chocolates.
Oh, wow. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can identify. It was chocolate Hershey's Kisses.
Exactly, yeah.
That's what did it.
Yeah.
That's the first kisses.
And not just a few, but 1 bag, 2 pounds or something.
Oh, let's see. What about your daily life now? What hobbies do you have?
I do have a few, like I love flower arranging. I went to school to study flower arranging because I was very interested. I love to cook, lots of things. And now my favorite hobby now is playing with my granddogs. And that's the favorite thing in the world. Yeah.
And gardening?
Gardening, yes, I do love gardening, yeah. I have lots of pictures to show. I have raised the most expensive flower in the world. Did you know what that is?
No.
That is from Thailand. It's called kadupul. And I have pictures later when we get to know each other more. Very expensive because this kind of flower, they're big like this, opens at night and in the morning it's gone. That was just one chance that you will see that flower open. And when I found out we have it in our backyard, I went downstairs at 3 o'clock in the morning because it was beautiful. Yeah, one day I'll show you nice pictures, beautiful. And why is it most expensive? They can get the nectar from that one for perfume, but they only have that little chance. That's it. As soon as it closes, it will die.
I would think that would make it cheaper.
Well, no, expensive. I don't know, but it's expensive. I didn't know I had it in my garden.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Let's see what else. What prepared you to be a chaplain?
When I was going to seminary in Berkeley, I went to the Pacific School of Religion in Berkeley. I was the pastoral care minister of the United Methodist Church in Fremont. And then I realized then that I am drawn to giving care to older folks, those who are sick, those who don't have anybody to tell them that they are important. In other words, I found out, not the hard way, but the easy way. Oh, this is my calling. And I pursued that, yeah. So I was an associate pastor, but then I realized there's something more than being an associate pastor. And so I took some clinical pastoral education. I had 5 units. I took some more classes on caring for the elderly. Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us what days you are working here and what hours and where you hang out.
When I'm here,
Uh-huh.
oh, I can tell you where you can find me on Wednesday. I go straight to the nooks and notions. Oh, notions and needs. The gift store, the gift shop. I go there straight. I spend about 10 minutes there, 15 minutes. So my days here are Sunday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, and the whole day of Thursday. Except today, I had to spend more time in the terraces of Los Altos today. We had a human good presentation there.
Yeah, okay. Briefly, can you, because that sounded
Some,
so
what,
well, that sounds very different from anything I know we've done here.
what do you mean?
What you did today,
Oh, yeah, today is different because this is a program of human good. You all know human good, right? So human good has a program called Holidays Around the Globe. And Terraces of Los Altos was assigned the presentation on Diwali. Diwali is the Indian Festival of Lights. It was supposed to be November 4, but our turn to present is today. So I wore, for the first time in my life, Kate, I wore a sari. Do you know what a sari is? Yeah, beautiful, but this particular sari was given to me when I was an associate pastor in that church by an physician from India. She gave it to me, she brought it from India. I have never worn it, it's 15 years old, but it is the most beautiful fabric I have ever owned. And so today, the resident there, she's Indian, she's a doctor, she held to me and it took half an hour to drape me, to wrap me. You know, she wrapped the whole thing around me and it turned so beautiful.
if I'd known that, I would have had you wear it this afternoon.
Well, they told me, okay, this is the thing, you are right. They told me, why are you taking it off? Wear it to TLG. I said, how am I gonna drive in this? Yeah, I was like, it's funny because I can demonstrate just quickly because it's wrapped around, right? And the pleats, the doctor said, you have to hold the pleats like that when you walk, otherwise you trip. And so I was holding this and I was walking like a Japanese woman. I thought, is this right? It's
It would have really impressed us here, you know?
huh?
It would have impressed us here if you walk like that.
Maybe that day will come.
Okay.
When the time is right, that will happen, right?
I walk like that sometimes. Okay, can you think of anything else that we didn't cover?
Well, there is something moving forward. I just want to tell you all, I have big plans for the spiritual life of this community, and I will not be able to do it by myself. I need your partnership with me. By saying that, it means that if there is something you think will benefit you and many people here, or just a few, come to me, talk to me, and we'll sit down and discuss, because I'm going to be open. I have programs already working in the other community, the Los Altos, but let me tell you this, each community has its own personality. Okay, does that make sense?
It does.
This community has its own personality. Los Altos community has its own personality.
Can you give an example of a program that you're talking about?
Yeah, one thing that I can think of right off the bat is it's not a support group, but it is like a support group. And I want to call it open spaces. This is something that people can come. We will be together in one place, and they are welcome to to talk about what they want to talk about, especially something that is close to their heart. You say, they call it support group, but to me, it's not just a support group. It is a group of people who will remind you that you are important, that someone loves you, and that you matter in this community and in the world. So that's one, but I've already started writing my curriculum for it. It's not going to be a large group, maximum would be 11 of you, one of me, so 12 would be the largest attendance or number. And then I will, on December 26th, I will be leading the chapel service on December 26th. And I am going to introduce to you the format that we use at Los Altos, which actually is it's a satisfying kind of worship. So December 26th, I'll be here. Well, I'm here anyway on Sundays. I attend the chapel services of the different pastors because I want to know them also, and I want to see who are coming to church service. Yeah, so.
You know, one thing that I would be interested in is end of life preparation.
Mhm.
For example, helping families deal with a death that's imminent.
Yeah,
And because death is not a word that's talked about much.
you're right.
Yeah.
It isn't, but
Do
it
you
is.
have any experience in that? Have you done that at Los Altos?
Yes, at Los Altos, I've done that, but let me tell you, so these are my jobs. I'm chaplain at the terraces at Los Altos and interim chaplain here at Los Gatos. And if I'm not doing this chaplaincy, I am a hospice chaplain in Fremont. And my territory is the Tracy, Manteca, Contra Costa area. I do that just one day a week because I'm able to do it on the phone also and actual visitation. And I've been doing that for it's about 7 years now. So if you ask me about experience, I have a lot of experience. And what I do, the good thing about me is that I do not stop learning. I continue to take courses that will help me, be at par with what's happening around us. So I have a lot of experience. And to be honest with you,
I didn't realize that because I'm a hospice volunteer
yeah,
for Kaiser.
yeah, it is the chaplaincy, hospice chaplaincy is not for every pastor, it's not for every chaplain. It's a special calling, and I have met with a few residents here who have the same kind of need. Yeah, and I'm there and I understand them. I know where they're coming from, and they trust that I know what I'm saying, and that's important. Because when I do these jobs, I do it not by the book. I listen to my heart. I listen to the other person's heart, and then we can talk. That's my style.
That's where heart to heart
Yes.
conversation.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I bet there are some questions.
Yes. Do you have an office or a place where we can find you here besides the notions and needs?
Do you have
I do.
the question is, do you have an office where you can be reached?
Yeah, the office upstairs, right now, I'm in transition because there's a chaplain's office. Chaplain's Chris office before. And now I'm in the lodge director's office, but they told me I can transfer to the chaplain's office, but they haven't done the move, so I'm there.
You're across from where the transportation people
Yeah,
are.
Transportation here and Miss Ford doing the puzzles right there. I'm right there. Yeah. So if I get bored and I see her, I go there and just put one piece. That's it.
Sort of putting pieces together as part of your work.
Exactly. So that's that's my office. Do you know where that is? And I have my own phone number. It's 357-1103. When you call that number, it will be my recording if I'm not there. If I'm there, I always answer the phone.
And your last name is Andres, or Andres?
Yeah, Andres, that's my husband's last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of dogs do you have?
Dogs, oh, they're the most handsome dogs in the world. They are small breed, Chihuahua Pomeranian mix. Oh, they love me. They love their grandma. Yeah, yeah.
I should have had you bring them.
Oh, they're not, no,
No, okay.
yeah.
Any other questions, anyone? Well, we must have done a good job then.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, because Kate, I thought it was just gonna be Kate and myself.
She asked me how many were coming, and I said, probably nobody.
Yeah. But I wanna be of service to this community, yeah, that is
And
my.
you said interim, what does that mean?
Well, they told me I'm interim while you're looking for a real chaplain, but I'm a real chaplain now. No, that was interim, that was what they told me, but
Okay.
I'll be honest, well, Los Altos doesn't have a full-time. The position for Los Altos has always been part-time since I took the job. Part-time, 25 hours, and then this one is also part-time, right? But so I'm trying to have a strategize so that I can talk to Bradley and talk to Debbie Gonzalez, the ED of the other, so that we will not be counting the hours, but just look at the job.
Where do you live?
I live in Milpitas, so it's 20 miles from here, or 25 miles.
That's a distance to travel.
It is, but
And pay for gasoline?
don't ask me about the traffic going home.
Oh,
Terrible. But it's okay. I'm not afraid of traffic because I get to be by myself and, yeah, have a quiet drive. Yeah. Do you have any questions? Terry has a question, and Mr. Gold shirt next. Terry.
I just want to say we had a chance to meet Edna right when she started, and I asked her about getting together a group of people, and I guess this is what we're going to do is the open spaces.
Yes.
We're going to start on, I'll put a date, December 26th, that's a Sunday.
Well, that is, you see, I am a very obedient person. I told you that, right? So if my boss, Bradley, will not give me some green lights, then we will move the date. But for sure, I will, yeah.
Get started.
But that will happen, I promise you, okay? Because there's a need, there is a
There
need.
is a need.
Mhm.
We did find out there was a need.
Yeah. And while waiting for that, I've been visiting with residents one-on-one, and I get referrals from the other directors, and I appreciate that very much. Sandra.
Am I the only one that didn't hear this last question?
Oh, you had a question too?
No, I didn't hear it well.
Oh, Terry's question was about the plan to put together a group. The one I told you was called Open Spaces. Yes, sir, you had a question?
Yes, regarding the comparison, we don't have a lot of circulation with terraces of Los Altos. We don't know their personality. But you were here for the Veterans Day
Yes.
activity. And could you just share your impression? I know we have at least 40 veterans
Mm-hmm.
here and about that number of surviving spouses
Mm-hmm.
of veterans.
Yeah.
So that's out of a resident population for all levels
Yeah.
of 350, something like
Yeah.
that. So what are the numbers like over in Los Altos, and how have you interacted with the veterans?
The veterans. So your first, what's your name? What's your name?
Paul,
Paul, so for purposes of easier mathematics, you are twice the size of Los Altos. So if we talk about you have 400 or less than 400 residential or residents, we have about 200. So Veterans Day, they had a little bit of celebration, but not like what Dana and Sandy prepared for you. They did, yeah, the veterans, about 20 of them over there. So always have, Paul. So did that answer your question? Thank you. Thank you. I hope to see some of you on the 26th, but I see you around when I come, and don't hesitate to come to me if you have any questions.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you so
coming.
much. Thank you, Kate.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn that off.